You think smoking weed is a modern thing, a college dorm thing, I just discovered Bob Marley thing. It's not. Ancient humans were getting high 10,000 years before your country even existed. And the reason they started has nothing to do with relaxation, nothing to do with medicine, and absolutely nothing to do with a good time. They stumbled into it by accident, and it changed human civilization forever. This is the actual history of weed, and it's weirder than you think. If ancient humans doing things that would get them arrested today sounds interesting to you, subscribe. We do this every week. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Let's go back 10,000 years. Central Asia, the Yamnaya steppe. No cities, no farms, no laws, just endless grassland, freezing wind, and humans trying not to die. Cannabis grew wild everywhere across this region. It wasn't special. It wasn't sacred. It was just a plant, like grass, like weeds, literally a weed. Now here's where it gets interesting. Dr. Andrew Sherratt, archaeologist at Oxford University, spent decades studying ancient drug use across early civilizations. His conclusion: the first humans to get high almost certainly did it around a campfire. Not intentionally. They burned cannabis as fuel, as kindling, as just another plant that catches fire. And then the smoke hit them. Imagine being the first human to feel that. You've never heard the word high in your life. You don't know what's happening. Your hands feel weird. Everything is funny. Your friend's face looks hilarious for no reason. And then someone says, put more wood on the fire. That wood being cannabis. The oldest direct evidence comes from a burial site in the Jerzankel Cemetery in western China, dating back 2,500 years. Dr. Yimin Yang from the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences found wooden braziers, basically ancient fire bowls, with burnt stones inside them. Those stones tested positive for THC. Not just cannabis seeds, not just plant matter, actual psychoactive THC, meaning these people weren't using it for rope or fabric. They were using it to get high, deliberately, at a funeral, which honestly makes a lot of sense. So they discovered it by accident. Fine. But why did it spread across the entire ancient world? 3 reasons. First, it made the unbearable bearable. Ancient life was brutal. You hunted in the cold. You buried children. You watched people die from infections we cure in 3 days now. Dr. Ethan Russo, neurologist and cannabis researcher, has documented evidence that ancient cultures from China to Egypt to India used cannabis specifically to manage pain, anxiety, and grief. It wasn't recreational. It was survival psychology. Your brain hurts from reality. This plant makes reality softer. You keep using the plant. Second, it made them feel connected to something bigger. This is the part modern science is only just catching up to. Cannabis activates the endocannabinoid system, a network of receptors in your brain that regulates mood, memory, and perception. When ancient humans got high around a fire, they felt things. Deep things. Feelings of unity, of meaning, of being part of something vast. Dr. David Lewis Williams, archaeologist at the University of Witwatersrand, argues that altered states of consciousness, including those from cannabis, directly influenced the creation of cave art. Those paintings you see in documentaries, the handprints, the animals, the geometric patterns. Some of that was made by people who were absolutely stoned, which actually explains a lot. Third, it spread through trade. By 5,000 years ago, cannabis had moved from Central Asia to China, India, the Middle East, and eventually Europe. Not because armies carried it, because merchants did. Wherever humans traded goods, cannabis went with them. Dr. Mark Merlin, botanist at the University of Hawaii, tracked cannabis migration patterns across ancient trade routes and found it moved faster than almost any other crop. Because once people tried it, they wanted more. Some things never change. Once cannabis spread, certain civilizations didn't just use it casually. They built entire rituals around it. The Scythians, a nomadic warrior culture from the Eurasian steppe, were probably the most famous ancient weed enthusiasts in history. And we know this because Herodotus wrote about it. Herodotus, the Greek historian, the ancient world's journalist. He documented Scythian funeral rituals in 440 BC. They would build a small tent, put red-hot stones in the center, throw cannabis on the stones, climb inside and inhale. His words, and I'm paraphrasing, were that they howled with pleasure. That's a 2,500-year-old hotbox. Then there's ancient India. Cannabis appears in the Atharva Veda, one of the oldest Hindu sacred texts, as one of 5 sacred plants. It was called bhang. It was mixed into drinks, offered to gods, used by holy men during meditation. Dr. Wendy Doniger, professor of history of religions at the University of Chicago, documents how bhang was woven into Hindu festivals that are still celebrated today. Meaning there are festivals happening right now that have unbroken roots going back 3,000 years to people getting religiously high. Ancient China used it medicinally as early as 2700 BC. Emperor Shennong, considered the father of Chinese medicine, listed cannabis in the world's first pharmacopoeia. Recommended for pain, for inflammation, for absent-mindedness. That last one is a little ironic. Here's the thing nobody talks about. Cannabis works on humans so effectively because your brain was literally built for it. Your endocannabinoid system, the system that THC hijacks, didn't evolve because of cannabis. It evolved for your own internal chemistry. Your brain makes its own cannabinoids naturally, called anandamide, from the Sanskrit word for bliss. Dr. Raphael Mechoulam, chemist at Hebrew University of Jerusalem, first isolated THC in 1964. Then spent decades discovering that humans have an entire internal system that runs on cannabis-like molecules. He called it one of the most exciting discoveries in neuroscience. What THC does is flood that system with an external version of what your brain already makes. It's not hacking your brain. It's overpowering a system that was already there, which is why it works so universally across all humans, and why ancient people with zero understanding of neuroscience figured out very quickly that this plant did something real. Because it did. It does. Your ancient brain responds to it the same way their ancient brains did. You are not so different from the person sitting in that Scythian tent 2,500 years ago. Today, 200 million people use cannabis globally. It's legal in dozens of countries. It's in pharmacies, in coffee shops, in wellness apps, and it all traces back to a campfire in Central Asia, where some human threw the wrong plant on the flames. And everything got a little funnier. If you made it this far, subscribe. We find the ancient origin of everything modern. Next week, we're covering something that will make you question every instinct you have about survival. Drop in the comments. Would you have tried it if you were there?